You said that you've been lonely, makes you cold as ice.
Can you please tell us your name?
My name is Bree.
Nice to meet you, Bree.
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, when is your birthday?
August 16th.
What sign is that?
Leo.
Yo, shout out to the Leos. Show your son some love.
Right. On the same day.
So where were you born?
I was actually born in Texas, but I grew up in Jersey, South Jersey.
Okay, how was it like being raised in Jersey, the good and the bad?
It was different, definitely different than the city, that's for sure. The one thing I really loved about growing up in Jersey, though, was we had a lot of land. We had 4 acres of land, so it was nice, like, you know, we had trails, and it was just nice to have all that land.
So tell us a little bit about your household. What was it like?
Toxic, definitely toxic. Both my parents were addicts, so I grew up with my grandparents. My grandfather's an alcoholic, a little bit sexist and a narcissist, but you know, he won't admit that. And my grandmother, it's actually my step-grandmother, she never failed to because I have a little brother and sister, I'm the oldest. She never failed to let us know that, you know, she never wanted kids. So she never failed to let us know that basically we were a burden to her because these were supposed to be the years she was enjoying her retirement. And she also raised my mom and my 2 uncles too, so she ended up getting 6 kids when she wanted none. And my mom was an addict, so she kind of resented us for that, if that makes sense. But being the person I am, knowing that she struggled with that with my mom, I kind of wanted to be her second chance. So, you know, I actually never did drugs when I was in high school. I was a straight A student, never smoked a cigarette, never touched a drink, went to church every Sunday, did everything by the book, if you want to say it that way. So, and yet still wasn't good enough for her.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. It be like that sometimes, you know? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about high school. What type of student were you?
Like I said, I was a straight A student. I took honors English and AP English. I took AP Psych and AP Chemistry. Chemistry and psychology were definitely my favorites.
Yeah, those are some good ones.
Psychology is so interesting, especially when like you have mental illness. It's cool to learn about that stuff and know that like it is real. Because the big thing with my grandmother was because of her age and her generation, she didn't believe in mental illnesses like anxiety and depression. So that really helped me cope with and understand that I wasn't crazy and that it was real.
So while growing up, did anyone ever hurt you in a bad way?
Yeah, a lot of people. My father, who actually I ended up learning was my stepfather, not my real father, but he actually is my brother and sister's father. So we have the same mom but different dads. My grandmother accidentally told me that when I was 12. She goes, yeah, when your mom met John Myers, she was pregnant with you. And I said, when she met my dad, she was pregnant with me? She goes, oops, you might want to talk to your mom about that. That's the type of person she was. So, but that never changed anything between my brother and sister and I, you know. I practically raised them myself. And, you know, before we moved in with my grandparents, which when I was like 8, I took care of my mom too, you know. But the biggest thing that really I remember from my childhood that really was like just super messed up was my uncle molested me. and my grandparents found out, and they gave me a choice. I could either tell, because I was in counseling at the time, I could either tell my counselor what happened, but my uncle would probably go to jail, lose his family, and kill himself, or I could just keep it quiet and we would pretend it never happened and it would never happen again. That wasn't a choice, obviously, especially not for a kid. So, I told them I wouldn't say anything. And I remember that was the first time my grandfather hugged me. So they chose their son, not even her son, but his son, over a little girl who had just got molested.
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It happens to too many people. That's another thing. I also was because I was raised Christian, so, I was still a virgin. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 18 because I wanted it to be special and it was somebody I loved. Luckily it was, so that's good. But in my head, I see sex as a bad thing. And it sucks because, I shouldn't, you know what I mean? But when you're raised, oh, you shouldn't have sex until after marriage, that's kind of how it feels, you know what I mean? And then when you have things like being molested or raped happen to you, that also puts a bad connotation on sex. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So still to this day, that's something that I struggle with, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, just take it one day at a time.
Exactly.
So how did you start using drugs?
So I had a boyfriend when I was in high school. I graduated in 2017. This was the summer of 2016. He drowned in a quarry. We used to, every day, my best friend and I, and his best friend and him, we used to go to the quarry and swim every day after school. And one day he was swimming across and just had a panic attack. And, quarries are really, really deep in the middle. So it ended up pulling him under and he drowned. It took them 20 minutes to find his body. My mom died 2 weeks later. And my dad died a year later, December. So June 8th is when my boyfriend drowned. My mom died July 24th. I turned 17 August 16th and then started my senior year. The hardest part about that was that that was what my mom and I always talked about. When I turned 18, my graduation, my senior prom. So it was 10 times harder without her. Also, at the time, like I said, I had never touched a drug. I didn't understand addiction the way I do now. And I had finally gotten to a point where I told her, listen, if you don't get help, I can't have you in my life anymore. You won't ever see your grandchildren. You won't be invited to my wedding. And she said to me, what if I was to die tomorrow thinking that you hated me? And that was our last conversation. Of course, I know that she didn't feel that way and that she loved me, but, guilt is a hell of a thing. So after I graduated, my grandparents ended up kicking me out. At the time, I was just smoking weed, but I could have been chewing heroin, according to my grandmother. She counted it as the same thing. So they kicked me out, and I moved to Philly with my great aunt. Her daughter, which would be my second cousin, my mom's first cousin, got out of jail, and I was dating a drug dealer at the time. This is also the guy I lost my virginity to. He liked me though because I didn't do drugs. So he didn't ever want me on drugs. My aunt knew that because that just happened to be a drug dealer, she knew that if she got me hooked on drugs that she would get more out of it. So that's how I started smoking crack.
And how old was you at this time?
18.
And what drug are you currently struggling with now?
Now I do dope and still smoke crack. I was snorting it at first.
Okay, hold on, yeah? Your boyfriend is here.
Okay.
Hold that thought, okay? I'll be right back. You're gonna be okay? Your boyfriend is here?
Yeah.
Alright, fine. Okay, so I might have to backtrack.
You're good. Accidentally, she did dope, and at the time I was snorting coke, and she was really messed up, so she didn't know which was which. And so I tried it to figure out which was which was just stupid on my part, but I guess a part of me kind of wanted to know, you know what I mean? And I had to come to terms with that, the fact that really I can't blame anybody but myself, because at the end of the day, I know that a part of me wanted to know what could be so powerful that it took away my parents. So I was snorting it at the time, and then I was homeless for a little bit through the winter and the summer, and I was shooting at the time, and now I was shooting dope and powder, actually, and I would have seizures, really bad seizures where I would turn blue. I could never hit myself, so I would be trying for hours, just crying in the bathroom. Then it got to the point where I just had to muscle pop it, and I got bad abscesses. It was just terrible. I still do it, but I don't shoot it anymore, and I don't do the powder anymore. I snort it and I smoke the hard. But unfortunately, the way you do it sometimes doesn't even matter, because the detox is all the same. From whether I snort it or shoot it, I still detox just as hard.
How many times have you tried getting clean?
I have been to rehab. I've been to Fairmount. I've been to Malvern. I've been to Gaudensia. The longest I've had is 2 months clean. But I am planning on going to Penn Presbyterian within the next week to try to detox, because I've heard the detox there is really good. So, because that's my biggest fear is, and I know that's most people stay sick because they don't want to get sick. So I'm scared, but I really can't do this anymore.
So you was clean for 2 months. What triggered you?
My best friend, the one that did the dope, ended up overdosing. Yeah. I went to rehab with, that was at Fairmount when I went to rehab. And I met this girl, because I'm bisexual, and her and I were going to move in together. She got out a week before I did. Literally the day before I was about to get out of rehab, I get a call from her father that she overdosed. So now I lost my girlfriend, and I was getting out of rehab with nowhere to live. So I was homeless again.
So you mentioned children. Do you have any?
I don't, which I'm very grateful for, because I don't want to bring a kid into this world right now. But I have, like I said, my little brother and sister, and my sister has my niece, and my niece is my whole world. I love that little girl so, so much. Right. And she's growing up in front of my eyes, but not in front of my eyes.
Gotcha,
you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And I just don't want to miss any more of her childhood.
I hear that. So what's your current situation right now? Are you homeless? Do you have a place to stay?
No, I have a place to stay. I'm staying with my boyfriend right now. So thankfully he gets housing, so thank God, because it's cold outside. But I was just living on Clearfield and got evicted. The friend that I was staying with didn't tell me how close to eviction he was and didn't wake me up when they came to evict him. So I got woken up by them saying, "We've been here all day, you don't have time to get your stuff." And I lost everything. All my belongings, everything, and then was homeless.
So what's the biggest thing you wish you didn't do in life?
Drugs.
How is your mental health right now out here, or period?
I have really bad depression, really bad anxiety, bad PTSD and nightmares, terrible insomnia. So another reason that I kept doing the dope is I also have a lot of stomach problems. The fentanyl obviously takes away pain, helps with my stomach problems. I also have bad nightmares and insomnia. The tranq helps me sleep. So not to say that there are benefits to it, but there's always more of a reason than people think. You know what I mean? So yes, it was at first to numb the pain, but then it took away different pains, and then it just became more, you know what I mean, and less of a choice.
So what are you most afraid of?
The sickness, the detox. Every rehab I've been to, every hospital, every person who's seen me detox has literally told me they have never seen anybody detox as hard as I do. I have seizures. It's so terrible.
So what have you learned from all this experience?
So much. So much. It helped me understand. I'd say the biggest thing that I learned is that you can't get clean for anybody else. I never understood why my mom couldn't get clean for us. I never understood why the love of your children couldn't be enough until I was in my addiction. And I don't have children, but like I said, I practically raised my brother and sister, and my niece is my entire world, and I would do anything for them, but it has to be for me first. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can't love them correctly if I can't love myself first. The other big thing I learned is that it's usually not a choice, because who would choose this? Nobody would choose this life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you know, I hear a lot of people that started on perks. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different ways that people start on this drug. For me, it wasn't through a perk addiction, but it was through the wanting the love for my mom. And my aunt, or my second cousin, was so much like her in the way that she was just, could always put you in a good mood. She was just funny. She looked like her. She was our first cousin. And I kept smoking the crack because it kept us close. And I was trying to replace that love that I lost from my mom by using. So sometimes it's something that you don't even think could be a reason that somebody would possibly use. So
what's a typical day in your life look like?
It's a struggle every day, every single day. Always, I wake up with panic attacks every morning because how am I gonna get my drugs today? You know what I mean? What do I have to do today to get my drugs? Am I gonna be sick? It's just constant anxiety every day, and it's never enough either. You know what I mean? Especially because I wish I just had to take care of the sickness, but because I'm addicted to the crack too, I have to make sure I have money for that too. You know, it's all the cliches they say, they're 100% true. one is too many and 1,000 is never enough.
So how much would you say you spend average on your drug habits?
Oof, I do not want to know. Hundreds a day.
And what do you do for work?
I do like, I sell content, like the OnlyFans. I make good money doing it. I really do. And I don't mind doing it, but I'll be honest, some days don't pay. And I have to do things that I told myself I never would, like dates that I don't want to do. You know what I mean? There will always be a time when you have to cross a line that you didn't want to cross for your addiction.
If you had one wish, what would you wish for?
Wow. I guess I would wish I could go back in time and start over with what I know now.
What are some of your favorite foods?
So that's a little funny story for you. My grandmother liked to make like all these exotic foods, like Japanese food and like mandarin orange salads, and what kid wants to eat that? So at one point I became a vegetarian, literally, so I didn't have to eat her food, but I wanted a taco. And so I'd say tacos are my favorite food because they stop me from being vegetarian.
Do you have a favorite band or artist you listen to?
I love all music, and everybody says that, but I listen to rap, doo-wop, soul, heavy metal, everything. I listen to everything.
Okay,
I love music.
Okay, all right. When you hear the word art, A-R-T, what comes to mind?
Art, music, paintings, art.
Got you. And what are all your short-term goals now?
My short-term goal is to get to Penn Presbyterian and get through this detox.
Okay. Anything else?
That's what I'm going to take it as for now. That's the one step that I can handle.
Right. If your friends or your family see this video, what message would you like to send to them?
Just to my little sister that I will be home soon.
Hey, she's speaking that into existence. She will be home soon. So this one is to take us home. There are a lot of people in this world who judge people who struggle with drug addiction. What's your message for the world?
Take a look at yourself first before you judge anybody else, because misery loves company, and a lot of people, you know, like I said, the cliches are true. Hurt people. Like I said, there's 1,000,001 reasons why people get into addiction, and a lot of people think that it's a choice, and maybe the first time you use it is a choice, but after that it's not. That's it.
Okay, awesome. Well, AML family, I want to tell Bree, thank you so much for being courageous and sharing your story. Hopefully it resonates and someone will learn from this and won't come down this road. And even those who are in recovery, hope you can see this and think twice before you come back to this lifestyle, because it's not worth it at all. So before we take flight, is there anything you're in need of that we can help you with?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay. All right, fam. Remember, don't be bitter, be better. Until next time, we out there. Peace out. I got a gift for you really quick, all right?
Okay.
Really quick, and it's a wrap. Which one you want? You can take any one.
I don't know this one.
It's from my How Lovely Carol. One for you too, okay, buddy?